This is a real interesting one. We've got the 1 seed Finding Nemo taking on the 5 seed Coco.
Fuck! Oh no, dude, what? This isn't a fun one.
Ooh, loser says it's easy for him. This is very interesting.
I think he's a big Coco
Okay,
fan.
I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, please.
Since I know Darkwing's trying to do the poll, and Mark is clearly devastated.
Yeah.
It is close. I talked about last round how much I like Finding Nemo and how I connect to that movie. I'm gonna go with Coco. Just the soundtrack in general for me is so amazing. I listen to that on Spotify in my car. I love that soundtrack so much. Like, it's fantastic. The story is great. It's him finding himself. It's him understanding who he is and his background, connecting with his family, the person that he's trying to become, and the fact that he connects through it all in music. You have the plot twist, you have the villains, and then you have just everything. To me about it is just so well done, and it kind of uses the same concepts we've been talking about with like the magic and the dream world, but using it, connecting it to the afterlife and spirituality and what that means to people. So to me,
and
it's
the
fantastic.
use of Day of the Dead, use of Day of the Dead, and like the kind of the bridge between the living world and the world of like and like the afterlife, and using that as an analogy for the loved ones to like be with their family for that one day of the year was really good.
Yeah.
And like visually speaking, so like, and I'm gonna get my second Marky award. Marky award.
That. It's not a thing. That doesn't exist.
My second Marky
award, happen, buddy.
Yeah.
My second Marky award is going to Coco.
He's like, wait a minute, Darkwing has his own segment on my channel. I can't let that happen. I got to make something counter that.
My second Marky award is going to Coco for worlds that I want to see as Kingdom Hearts worlds for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh yeah.
I think that world will be fucking incredible. That being said, I'm actually voting Finding Nemo though. Okay. So Finding Nemo to me. And it kind of goes along with what Darkwing said a little bit earlier. Like, it wasn't the first Disney movie I saw, but like Finding Nemo, I've just been connected to so much since I was a kid. And
which does play a factor into voting, by the way. Like that does play a factor into it.
Yeah.
And I think like seeing it's always cool like having a movie, because it's a unique experience to love a movie as a kid and love the same movie as an adult, and be able to take your like current self and look at things, and like notice things that you may not have noticed as a kid, whatever. But like, I think Finding Nemo, Marlin's journey and like him learning to like let go of the wheel a little bit, and let his son make his own decisions, and let his son have his own life, and not letting, and not being like a helicopter parent, essentially, I think is a good message for like any parent out there. You know what I mean? It's very similar. It's very Goofy movie coded.
Sure.
If anything, him letting go of the wheel just proved he was right. He should have held on longer. He got lost. He let his kid go do something. All of a sudden, he gets grabbed. Like,
no.
Proven, Marlin.
No.
If he would have held on, he wouldn't have been gone.
No, because he assumed that his son was doing something when his son wasn't doing it. And then when he started being a helicopter and started being a dick about it, then his son went to go touch the boat. Nemo was not going to touch that boat. But then Marlin's like, what were you doing? You were about to go touch the boat. And he's like, no, I wasn't. And then he went to go touch the boat out of spite. You got it wrong. stop.
It was not enough parenting, in my opinion.
No,
Um,
no, I'm
I'm
going
going.
Finding Nemo, but I know
I'm go-
Coco's gonna advance here.
I'm going Coco. I have
I'm not mad
told
about it.
I've told you how much I enjoy Coco and how
Mhm.
sad it makes me, but I could still rewatch it. So that should bring something out. That should say something. I really like it. I like Nemo. Don't hate Nemo.
Right.
Um, Coco. I'm going Coco.
Yeah.
I think Loser picked Coco too.
Yes, he did. And I think we're to the point here where, unless you're Darkwing with Big Hero 6, I don't think there's any movies that we hate left in the bracket. I think we enjoy all of these, so it's not a spiteful selection
Yeah,
anywhere.
like I'm
It's just
sad to see
it's just a
Finding Nemo
preference one over
go.
the other.
Yeah, I'm sad to see Finding Nemo go, but it's not like it's going to Winnie the Pooh. Like
Exactly.
it's losing to fucking Coco, which
So we've
is
got the number one overall seed is out. Coco
man.
moving on to the Elite Eight. All right, next up we've got the 3 seed Toy Story 3 going up against the 2 seed Inside Out.
Oh man, these are devastating. Oh man. Okay. I I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be listening in.
What a cop out.
Right.
Just
I'm gonna
just
go
step away.
Inside
Don't
Out.
don't
That's
turn your camera off.
Shut up.
I'm gonna go Inside Out. I Toy Story 3 very good, and it's representing the entire Toy Story franchise here. I understand that, but to me, Inside Out just Bing Bong, man. Bing Bong alone, I feel like, is enough to just
I
carry that onto
I
the Elite Eight here.
I've said it so many times. So many times. Why am I crying over an imaginary friend? I
Right.
still don't get it. To this day, I can't figure out how they did that. I'm going with it too. It was so good, and the way Joy was just, she's like, this is mine. I love my girl. I love my girl. Then sadness came in. It was just like, bleh. um, it was so good. It was such a growing up story that we haven't got before. Like, we haven't got growing up stories like that. We've got a girl who has to move and deals with emotions like that. But we haven't dealt with what the emotion actually does. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Um, so I'm going Inside Out. Toy Story. It feels weird getting rid of the Toy Story franchise here, but um, as good as Toy Story was for me, I gotta go Inside Out. Inside Out is, I want to say, one of my favorite, if not my favorite newer Disney movie. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
so that's my vote.
it's tough. Like, again, neither one of these is bad. I just
Yeah,
think Inside Out, just the connection and
Hmm.
the story, the like we talked about with Bing Bong, just the idea that that's basically representing her childhood is
Done.
dying. It's
Not
moving
done.
on.
Not done. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So and
Which
then
Andy did
just
as
how
well by
she's
giving away his
expanding into a more
toys. But
complex person
yeah,
with the cities and the pillars are now changing. Her values are changing. The
and like
important things in her life are changing.
and also like the idea that it's okay to be sad.
Right.
Like
You don't always have
sometimes,
to be happy all the time.
yeah, like sometimes like it's and like like the ending where like she starts to have like combined like emotions and
Hmm.
combined memories. Like it's so like I would like say that like when it comes to like intelligently written movies, like this is up there as far as like intelligently written animated movies. Like you could tell that they spoke with like psychologists and like people like mental health professionals. You could tell that like they spoke with like early childhood doctors about these things, and they
And
got it right. They got it right. Like,
and watching her happy places just go down into the depths too
Yeah.
was like, holy shit!
yeah,
Like,
and then like
oh my god!
as these pillars start to fall, watching her like kind of just be a blank slate and just have no emotions at all or anything like that
Yeah.
is so top notch, and it's something um, that I think I'm going Toy Story 3 on this because again, another thing where I don't want to see Toy Story get swept. But
Well, Toy Story got the fan vote.
Well then,
So if you vote Toy Story 3, it's going to move on. So
oh
this is going to come
no, wait
down
a
to
minute.
you.
Oh god, no! No! Why did you do that?
look what you did.
Oh,
Oh, well then.
oh fuck.
Well, I'm asking for his
Oh,
final answer here.
I wish you wouldn't have told him. I wish we would have got a final answer and then pushed it through.
Well, I would have just let it go if
Yep.
he didn't say I'm
It
throwing
was
it a
just a
vote so
pity
it
vote.
doesn't get
Yeah,
swept.
fair.
It's not going to get swept. But if you vote Toy Story 3, it will advance.
I love Toy Story 3. It, so I'm going to. So I've been praising Toy Story 3 a lot for what it did for the franchise, whatever. Um, as far as closing the chapter of that arc, whatever. But now I'm going to use that argument against it and say that it was not the last movie. So because it is not the last movie, it does kind of lose points for its kind of like chapter closing thing. Now, granted, like the Andy era is done and we're on a new Bonnie era and whatever. But I'm gonna go Inside Out.
Okay.
Because I was giving Toy
Right.
Story. Inside Out is the better movie.
I think that's the difficult thing too, like Loser pointed out in the chat, is that he's saying he would have picked Inside Out if he didn't grow up with the Toy Story franchise. Because, like I was saying when you stepped away, Mark, like Toy Story here is a good movie. Toy Story 3 is good. And it's also kind of representing the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Just what that whole storyline has meant to generations now for the last.
Yeah, and like it's like I quite literally grew up with Toy Story. Like Toy Story, I would say it's probably one of the first movies I ever watched as a kid. Toy Story 2 incredible, Toy Story 3 incredible, Toy Story 4 incredible. It is hard to like, and like all the characters are memorable. Like you want to talk about like a cast of characters, like every single like as far as the main toys, like all of them are memorable except like maybe like Slinky, whatever. But like
Slinky
all of them, like
but like it feels roller coaster, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it feels like it feels like everybody plays a role. Like obviously Woody's the leader, Woody and Buzz, quote unquote, are like the leaders. But like everybody feels like it feels like you know how like sometimes you'll have side characters and they kind of get like lost in the background and kind of like lost in the shuffle, whatever. It kind of feels like this is a real community in like the Toy Story universe, and that everybody's just kind of cool and everybody just kind of gets along and everybody has like the same like common goal, whatever, of making their kid happy, whatever. It's kind of similar to Monsters Inc. in that vein. But Inside Out, I think, is just so smartly written.
Yeah.
And like it's a movie that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like it's a movie that like I don't think like it's kind of like akin to what you were saying earlier about what was the movie that it had Wreck-It Ralph, where like it came out and people were probably like, oh, it's okay, it's a Disney movie, we're gonna go see it, whatever, and people saw it and were just blown away by how fucking good it is, whatever. And Inside Out, like I'm extremely excited about Inside Out too, because it's one of the few movies I think that like they could honestly make sequels until the kid is like fucking in their 20s if they fucking wanted to. Like, I think Inside Out has the potential to have, like, as far as a franchise, like a lasting impression like Toy Story, because like it's like their kind of corner of the market of like emotions and how people's emotions grow and develop over time. You can make so many different stories with that. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Inside Out. I was gonna give it to Toy Story 3, but like,
all right, we've got our Elite Eight
yeah.
set for the Pixar region. Moving back over to the Bronze Renaissance, we have the 1 seed Aladdin against the 4 seed The Little Mermaid. We're getting into it now here.
All right, I'm going to start because I feel like we're not going to be able to talk about this very often. The Little Mermaid is a great movie, one of the better villains of any franchise. But eventually we're gonna have to talk about Aladdin.
Sure.
Because it has been destroying everybody.
It is coasted into the Sweet 16 at this point.
It really has.
Right now, 8-0 in terms of votes through the first 2 rounds.
I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm gonna give Little Mermaid a pity vote, but I can't. Excuse me for the burp. I can't vote against Aladdin here. It's better. Yep. It just is. We're gonna have to talk about it eventually, rather than just saying it's better than this movie. But good on Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid did really well. Tough seeding for Little Mermaid. I think Little Mermaid makes the Elite Eight in a lot of areas.
Against a lot of people in this bracket, other than Aladdin.
I think it makes the Elite Eight, and let me check the ages real quick.
Well, gold.
I think the Gold Age for sure it makes it. Yeah, I actually
Gold Age, maybe Pixar. I don't know if it makes it in experimental / revival.
Depends on where it goes with Pixar. Yeah, but yeah, just tough. It ran into Aladdin. I think next round we're gonna have to talk about Aladdin.
Yeah,
I don't think
I'm gonna
this round
talk
we
about
need
Aladdin
to yet.
now. I'm gonna talk about Aladdin now because I want to give Aladdin his fucking flowers.
We have like,
no, but like because like
nobody's scored 20
because
points
if Aladdin because if Aladdin runs into a buzzsaw next round and it loses, I'm gonna be mad. So let me talk about Aladdin.
But we could talk about it then because it'll be in that round. This is the last shot for Little Mermaid because we all know that that's not advancing past Aladdin.
Little Mermaid's a great movie. Well, a great movie in itself. I think a lot of people have it higher in the Renaissance era, and I think it's probably like 5th or 6th. I don't have it better in Aladdin. I don't have it better in Lion King. I don't have it better in Hercules. I don't have it better in Mulan. Yeah, probably like 5th or 6th. I mean, you would agree with me. The only thing I think you would probably disagree with me on is Mulan.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's where you got the face from, though.
But like, other than that, again, to be 4th or 5th with those banger movies ahead of you, like, we're talking, all of those are potential. It's not better than Beauty and the Beast either. So like, yeah, it's probably like 6th for me. But like, again, that's saying something. Yeah, still. I'm going with Aladdin.
And you got Goofy movie in this one too, remember? You might have forgot about the Goofy movie.
Clean sweep.
Goofy movie's better as well.
Once again, Aladdin now 12-0 in the votes.
Yeah, this is getting
it's a juggernaut. All right, we've got the 2 seed Beauty and the Beast against the 6 seed Mulan. I think we know where Darkling's going.
Aladdin starters haven't even like played the whole game yet. That's how much they're winning.
They benched them at halftime, and it's already over. They've got the Aladdin C team in. They're resting the B team at this point.
Yeah, they haven't played the second half yet. Like, that's that good. I'm gonna set the poll up. You guys do your thing. Give me a second.
This is tougher than I would like it to be. I think.
I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast. For me, I really enjoy Mulan. I love Mushu as the side characters, the comic relief. I think Cricky is actually very good as a side character too. Doesn't get a lot of credit
Yep.
there.
I forgot about Cricky.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But for Beauty and the Beast, I'll go back to what I was kind of talking about with Wreck-It Ralph, where Ralph just wants to change who he is, doesn't want to be this certain person, and then runs into that as an enemy. I feel like the Beast has a very similar story arc in that
I guess on
he's a
almost.
huge dick. He's
Eh,
being rude to everyone, and he's just
Mulan.
conceited and thinking about himself, and then ultimately becomes the Beast, and then runs into Gaston,
Yeah.
who's basically just him all over
Yeah.
again, and has to ultimately
Kind of
confront him near
a
the end.
reflection.
So not only are we getting the story of Belle and her, growing up and, taking on this responsibility for her father who got captured by the Beast, but also just the Beast and how he grows. You get two stories kind of melted into one here.
Yeah. I will say, as strong as a protagonist Belle is, like, just like I kind of like other like obviously like her arc is like falling in love with the Beast and changing the Beast, whatever. But like prior to that, she was just kind of like a girl who reads. It's kind of like a girl who like walks around town and reads books, right? Like I do think Mulan is the stronger character between Belle and Mulan.
Of the princesses, sure.
Of the princesses, yes. I do think Belle is head and shoulders above a lot of princesses, but I think as far as like character arcs, I do think Mulan's character arc is better. Um, while I think Beauty and the Beast is more about the relationship that develops and between Beauty and the Beast, and how like Belle has this innate ability to see good in everyone except Gaston. But like Gaston doesn't like give her that chance. Gaston is just so like overwhelmingly Gaston.
she is actually like she blows him off in a decent way though. Like she's not a
Yeah,
dick
she's
about
not.
it.
Yeah, she's not an asshole about it
Yeah.
when she has every right to be, right? And I think like Belle's like kind of like kindness is something that like doesn't get talked about enough. Like just like she's just a good, nice person, whatever. But then like when the Beast tries to be a dick to her, she fucking says no, like I'm not gonna let you fucking do that shit. So like in that sense, she's a very complete character, but I do think I like Mulan's arc a little bit better. It feels like Belle doesn't really have much of an arc, but again, I think it's more about like her changing the Beast and Beast's arc than it is about her, if that makes sense. Because Belle's kind of the same person in the beginning of the movie as she is in the end, if you really think about it. While Mulan feels like she's kind of changed towards the end of her movie and her journey.
All right, so I got another Ducky Award to give out.
Okay, I'm curious to see
Ducky,
where I'm going to see my vote. I'm going to see where you go with this.
this Ducky Award is going to be for this part of the Sweet 16. I'm calling this could have been the greatest Sweet 16 ever award if it wasn't for Steve. Um, we have Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and we could have had Lion King. This is the what could have been award. But no, this is the Gauntlet Award. This is the best of the final four bracket that I think we have with Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Mulan, and Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
We could have had Lion King, so that it could have been better. But this is the best final four of a bracket we got anywhere else. Like
It's hard to argue.
look at the
It's really
rest of
hard to argue.
Look at the rest of the brackets. The final fours do not come close to this. Um,
I think Renaissance comes
now,
pretty cool. Or
now,
not
now,
Renaissance,
now,
Revival.
granted, they have movies that come close, but as far as Final Fours, like they don't come close, and it could have been better, but that's fine. Um, so yeah, congratulations to this Final Four of this bracket. I'm going Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
It's a really good movie, man. It's a really good movie, and I know I didn't really shit on Mulan. I just didn't say I didn't like as much as Lion King. So let's give Mulan a little bit of flowers. Mulan was good. It was a good movie. It had a great soundtrack. I said that.
Make a
Eddie
man out of you.
Ed,
Reflection. Oh,
Ed,
wow.
Eddie Murphy was fantastic. I mean, when is he not fantastic? By the way, he's so
Yeah.
good at what he does. Um, and it was weak in the villain sense a little bit, but like you said, I guess that's not what it was all about. Um, Beauty and the Beast, and I didn't even think about the Gaston Beast comparisons that Steve
Yeah.
made out. Like I didn't even think of that. Like that's who the Beast was turning into, which is kind of
Well,
ironic
that's what the
because
Beast was. The
I
Beast
know, but
was him, and that's why he got
it's
turned into the Beast.
it's kind of ironic because in Gaston's song he says every last inch of me is covered with hair, which is where the Beast is
Oh,
now.
wow.
So that's kind of funny to me. I use antlers in all of my decorating. Anyways, um, I'm gonna stick with Beauty and the Beast.
What does the fan vote say?
It
Beauty and the
was Beauty and the
Beast.
Beast.
Yeah, so that advances. So we have the
I'm
one
gonna
versus the two in
give it to
this
Beauty and the
region.
Beast as well. Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting on this one. So in that region, we have one versus two. This is the complete opposite in the gold to
This
bronze region. This is the all the bottom teams have advanced. We've got the 9 seed, the Jungle Book, taking on the 13 seed Peter Pan.
this
I
Final
think
Four does. They don't make it out of the round of 32 in the last bracket.
In most of the
I
brackets, I think most of these movies would struggle if it was
Yes.
like just open to everybody. We didn't have them broken out by
Hmm.
eras.
yeah. I think this is very easily Jungle Book. Um, Peter Pan, I think, is a fun story. But like, what's really being learned? like, I do love a fun story or whatever, but I don't know if you guys can tell. I also like to take something away from the movie a little bit, and like, kind of reflect and see what I can take from this and what like can be taught. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these are like family slash children movies.
Hmm.
So like, if there isn't a lesson being learned, to me it kind of takes away from it a little bit. And I guess like Peter Pan was like childlike wonder, whatever. Like, um, I think Jungle Book, does a great job of like discovering who you are and your identity. And sometimes what you think you want isn't what you actually might want. You know what I mean? Um, and I do think Hook is runs fucking circles around Shere Khan,
Right.
like circles around Shere Khan. However, I do think the cast of characters in Jungle Book in general, as a whole, kicks the shit out of Peter Pan. Because after Hook, it is a big fucking jump in quality when it comes to the
Oh,
characters.
Mr. Smee is phenomenal.
Hook, Hook, me,
Wow.
everybody else. Like,
Oh man.
Well,
Um.
I'm giving it to
I'll let you go, Duck.
Okay, my bad. So I'm going Peter Pan.
Okay.
really.
I've said it before. I love the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book's great. I really like Peter Pan, man. I rewatched that because after we talked about it, and I really liked it. I mean, he is a douche. Don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like this is He is in the hero category as the Emperor in the Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
Like that's where he is, where he's like such a shit. But it's like it's kind of a funny
Peter
shit.
is just
And
so unlikable.
Right.
as an adult though, you like him more than as a kid. I think like he's like you little bitch. Like you just want to laugh at him. By the way, we have a split vote in the poll. First
Oh,
time.
one second.
Um, I don't agree
Muted.
with it's Hook and everybody else. I think Hook is just such a high bar that he doesn't. Mr. Smee was great. Um, the Lost Boys were fun. They weren't that
Mhm.
bad.
They
And
were
I
fine.
and when Wendy Darling was kind of but
She's just kind of a kid.
but Tinkerbell was great.
Sure.
Um,
I wish Tinkerbell can talk.
well, she did in Hook, which I gotta get Hook out of there because I gotta quit thinking about
Stop
Hook. It
talking
was such,
about Hook.
it,
I feel like
you need
you're
a
basing your. I feel like you're basing your vote on Peter Pan on your love for fucking Hook.
I really like Hook is one of my top 3 movies of all time. I'm actually gonna do a movie night with that. Fuck it. I don't think I'm gonna tell Ronk.
Can you
Do it.
actually do that? Because
It's
I haven't
so
seen it
good.
before.
It's so good. It'll be like a Saturday, so I'll let you know. But anyways,
Am I sideways or am I good?
I'm gonna go Peter Pan. I think it was better than Jungle Book. Jungle Book had a couple of my favorite songs in there, and I really liked King Louie, but I'm gonna go Jungle Book. Or not Jungle Book, Peter Pan. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
I got reversed. Peter Pan's my vote.
So I'm also gonna end up going with Peter Pan here,
Oh man,
and
I'm kind of mad about that.
so to me, we talked about this a little bit before. So with Pan, you have he's constantly butting up against Captain Hook. He's the one that he's going up against the entire time, and then finally it culminates at the end when the two of them have to fight each other. You also have Wendy, who's kind of like the responsible one of the three children, and you have the
Can you guys see my
boys.
face on the camera? I'm sorry.
No, let's
No.
see.
Okay. All right, so I'll just hold my phone then.
If you want to set it down, I can adjust your camera, I think.
No, that's good.
Maybe.
I'll hold my phone for a little bit. I just need to charge it.
But with the Wendy and the boys, she's the responsible one. The boys don't want to grow up. They don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to be adults. And then finally, she convinces them that they should want to grow up. Not only that, but she's convincing the lost boys that they want to grow up and that they're, kind of misguided following Peter Pan. And then ultimately they go back and they go back to their regular lives. They'd prefer to be there instead of Neverland. The Jungle Book, I feel like it's a solid movie, don't get me wrong. But I honestly feel like every time I watch it, that they wrote out the movie, they had it all set and ready to go, and then they got to the end and they're like, all right, well, we just got to finish this. That's really what it feels like. Because, like I talked about before with the video game build, he's facing all these different villains leading up to Shere Khan, and then he faces Shere Khan, and Shere Khan's nothing. So why did he
Yeah,
lead
Shere
up
Khan.
to Shere Khan? And then the whole movie is based around him wanting to stay in the jungle because that's what he wants, that's what he loves, and then he beats the final boss in 2 minutes, and then decides, oh hey, you know what? I see a girl over there. I don't want to be in the jungle anymore, and leaves. Like, what was the whole point of the entire movie then if you changed your mind immediately? So, yeah, to me, I feel like it
Foremost,
just hit a wall
I
at the
mean,
end.
maybe
It had good momentum and good pacing right up until the end when it just kind of
I
fell
do
off.
think I do think Shere Khan is probably when it comes to all build up, no build, like all build up, just like no payoff.
Yeah,
Shere Khan is probably the most underwhelming villain.
yeah,
Maybe I don't know about Disney history, but certainly when it comes to like big heavy hitter Disney movies,
yeah.
like it's not up super high. Um, I do think um, I can see what you're saying as far as like it feeling like it almost contradicts itself.
Right.
Um, where like Mowgli, but like also it's kind of like he's going through the jungle because he thinks he knows like what's best for himself when like he kind of lucked out against Shere Khan, like with like fire and everything like that. Um, but what's his name? What's the fucking Panther's name? Bantu or some shit like that.
No, it's
Shit, that's gonna bug me. I have to use the
Bagheera.
Google.
Bagheera.
Bagheera.
Bagheera. Remember, Bagheera was trying the entire movie to get Mowgli to like leave the jungle because he was in danger or whatever. And Mowgli did like wind up like defeating Shere Khan, but ultimately like him leaving the jungle was what was best for Mowgli.
Mm-hmm.
Like being with his kind and actually like growing up with humans and stuff like that in humanity was ultimately the best decision. I think it was more so because like Mowgli was beating these people, but let's like not pretend like he wasn't in danger almost every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he almost got killed by a fucking snake. He almost gets jumped by
But
monkeys.
that's what I was saying with the video game build. It's like you play Kingdom Hearts and you go into each one of the worlds and it has a boss at the end that you have to defeat and they're
Yeah,
all tough and some of them are more annoying than others and you beat all these worlds and all these bosses to get to the final boss in the end game and then it's a two-hit kill and you win immediately.
true.
Which,
It's
by the
all
way,
this build up to nothing.
Smokey the Bear is not happy about that ending. By the way, like he's pissed. Like Mowgli is not preventing forest fires. I'm just saying.
He's
Like
Yeah,
he
causing
needs to.
them.
I
He
mean,
needs to. He needs to watch Fern Gully
He's
too.
the reason
Like
the Smokey the
it's
Bear does exist. That's it right
yeah,
there. It's like all of these kids want to
exactly.
start fires now because it'll protect them.
Think that. Thanks a lot.
I
You
am
see an
going
animal.
Jungle Book on this.
Yeah,
Um, but
So
yeah,
so
Peter Pan is
the chat is split.
right.
I
So
don't know how we do
it's
that.
2-1. Peter Pan advances.
Okay.
okay.
I didn't know how we were gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we've got the 6 seed Lady and the Tramp against the 10 seed Cinderella. The Cinderella story, really.
I think it continues. I think it continues. Um, I think when it comes to dog movies and Disney, I think Lady and the Tramp is probably like the best one. Um, like
I
I
don't know. I
think
really enjoy Bolt, but I guess that isn't just completely dogs,
like I think when it comes to like the dog movies in Disney, I think Lady and
right?
the Tramp is probably
Is the
like the king.
mains.
Um, whatever, and I think it's probably the one that they're probably the most proud of. Um,
First of all,
well,
Iron Will is a better dog movie in Disney, by the way.
yeah, so is Old Yeller.
That's not was Old Yeller Disney?
Yeah, I think so actually.
I know Iron
Um,
Will was smartass. Like,
Homeward Bound. There you go.
Yeah, but I don't think that was Disney, was it? I think it was like an
I think that
independent
was
company.
Disney. I
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I'm still winning. Iron Will was
Hey,
Disney. But anyways, continue.
can we get Homeward Bound? Can we get Homeward
Yeah.
Bound on the board?
All right, all
but
dogs go to heaven.
All Dogs Go to
that's
Heaven's
not Disney.
dominating.
Not
That's
Disney, but
famously not
again,
Disney.
yeah.
But yeah, I think while like a movie like 101 Dalmatians is remembered for the personality of the villain and not necessarily the dogs, Lady and the Tramp, I think you remember for the dogs and not necessarily anything else. It
Spaghetti
is
scene.
cute.
Right.
Yeah, it's cute, whatever. But I think Cinderella has a lot more to give. I think it's
This is an
a
honest
lot
question.
more.
What's the
Yeah,
villain in Lady and the Tramp? Society? Money? I don't, what
the
is? I
The
dog
don't
man.
catchers,
understand.
The man.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
man
dog
keeping you
catchers, I
down.
guess.
the
Like
the man.
I do love the give like and take between what's his fucking name? Like I know his name is not Tramp, and I know her name is not Lady. Like what is their fucking
It's
names? Wasn't it like Scruff or some shit like that? Or like Mutt? Something like that.
Hold on, I'm
gosh,
pulling it up.
yeah, I don't remember.
Jock.
Jock.
No, it's not
Wait, no,
Jock.
that was another one.
Lady and the Tramp, the
What would the
dogs.
what would, he doesn't have a
Um,
name.
he doesn't have a name.
He doesn't have a name. The
They don't
dogs.
even name him at the end.
They refer to him as Tramp. They do not.
Oh
He
yeah.
does not have a name.
Oh yeah, they do call them Lady and Tramp. Yeah.
Okay, so they're losing points for that. uh, because they call him the Tramp in the
Yep.
title. You're not fooling me. I'm calling him Scruff from now on. Or Mutt. I like Mutt. But I think Cinderella just like number one, it's the most iconic. Like I would argue that like when people think of Disney, Cinderella might be at least 60% of the time, maybe a little bit lower. It's either Cinderella or Lion King. When people think of Disney, Cinderella or Lion King are one of the first two movies that they think of. I would argue, like if you were to poll like 1,000 people or whatever, it
If I
is
told if I
in
told
the
you to name
logo.
if we told anybody to name 5 Disney princesses or even 3 Disney princesses,
Yeah.
I bet you 85% of the people are going to say Cinderella.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
you're gonna get the you're gonna get the hipsters that are like, oh, I like so and so from this movie, but they're gonna say Cinderella. Like she's it.
Yeah.
There's a Cinderella is Jerry West. She's the logo.
Right.
She has the castle as the fucking logo. When you go to Walt Disney World, the first
I've
thing you
been there.
fucking see is that giant fucking castle, Cinderella's castle. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like so, like
it's the first thing you see when you're on a main street because you see the train station and the topiary. All right, I'm sorry. Go. My bad.
This guy.
well, when
I,
you're on the
Sorry.
highway
but you
on the
said
way to
Cinderella.
Disney, you
The
see the
the
castle.
chat says
You can't
Cinderella. I'm
you
saying
can't see
Yeah.
the cat.
Cinderella.
You can't see the castle from the highway, bro.
Okay, whatever, man.
Duck, are you gonna go with
like,
Lady and the Tramp or Cinderella?
I'm
Cin-
Cinderella on board. I'm on board the Cinderella story.
so this is gonna be a clean sweep then. 10 seed Cinderella is
Lady
gonna
and the
move on.
Tramp had a good run,
That means we've
but
got 2 double-digit seeds here in the final of the gold to bronze region. The Sweet 16 matchups in the
Oh,
experimental revival. We've got the 1 seed Zootopia against the 5 seed Big Hero 6.
I vote
fuck,
Zootopia.
dude, are you serious?
You did this, by the way. You did this yourself. You
Even
kept Zootopia in this.
if Frozen 2 would have won, I would have had the same fucking issue. Ugh. What does Zootopia beat? Wreck-It Ralph?
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It
It was
Ralph.
very close.
If Wreck-It Ralph would have won, it would have been tough for me, but I think I would have easily picked Big Hero 6. Um, and that's not even a knock on Wreck-It Ralph. I think that's just how good I think Big Hero 6 is. I do think both of these movies have a lot of heart. And I do think that both of these movies,
Why do you let me
uh,
control this, by the way?
I think a lot of these movies, both these movies also do a great job in getting their core messaging across. I think I enjoyed Zootopia more. Um, when I first started watching these movies, there were a couple movies that I was really excited to watch that I hadn't seen yet. And right at the top of the list was Zootopia. It was Zootopia, I think like Encanto, and
You don't
I
get to
forgot
say it
what it
with a
was.
Spanish accent after you're single-handedly
It's
responsible
denied.
for getting rid of it.
So you're
Vetoed.
taking my Puerto Rican card?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
doing?
Revoked.
If you said it with any other movie, I'd be okay with it. But you just say it for the movie
Encanto.
that you removed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you got
Encanto.
it. That's it.
The caucasity of me. My bad. But I'm going Zootopia on this. This is a very tough matchup for me. But like I think with Big Hero 6, the only thing that I would say takes away from Big Hero 6 just a bit is like I do think that I do wish that like the side characters were maybe a little bit more like interesting. I think they're very like one dimensional. I do think that them as a support system for a hero is kind of the whole point of it, and not necessarily them as characters. So I can't really say like, oh, I wish that they had a whole backstory and everything like that. But tiny, tiny, tiny nitpick. Like, but I think I do think that the villain in Big Hero 6 is better. Um, but at that same time, it also kind of
Oh man, we got somebody else up.
this is tough. Yeah, I'm going Zootopia. I'm going Zootopia.
I am gonna vote Zootopia. Um, we, I mean, I like Zootopia. I don't like Big Hero 6. There we are.
Yeah, I have
That's
to
just
explain it. Yeah.
like it's just yeah. It's I've I've dumped all over this movie. I can't do it anymore. It's we're
Which is
getting rid of it.
controversial.
We're getting rid of it. See you. Bye. Bye. Bye, Baymax. See you later.
See, where are you going with this? I'm curious.
Big Hero 6. I got Loser to vote with me on Big Hero 6, but the fan vote split, so it's not going to matter. But all the reasons that I said before, it's not that I dislike Zootopia, as we continue to say, it's a very solid movie. Just head to head, like rewatchability, what would I go back to? I would go back to Big Hero 6 100 times out of 100. 100%. Not even close.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think like the core messaging of both of these movies hits the fucking mark like so well. Um I just think that I also think that Zootopia kind of tells its story a little better. Um but like both of them are like we're getting down to like fucking incredible movies versus incredible movies.
This one's going to
Like
be really interesting because we've got a Cinderella still
Oh.
alive.
Oh
Do the
my
right
God. This
thing.
fucking round.
Number 2,
Oh my God.
Moana against number 11, The Emperor's New Groove.
Holy shit.
You already know where
so
I'm going. It's
Oh my
Emperor's New Groove for
gosh.
me.
I'm
Like
going on
Moana is
this.
good. The soundtrack is really good, but just time and time again, I go back to The Emperor's New Groove to rewatch it. It's just
I,
so good.
and I think Moana is kind of the same way. Like I think Moana, like,
I
and like
watch
I think
Moana once every couple of years, and I'm good with that rotation. And the music
I
is
think
solid. Like the music is obviously better than Emperor's New Groove because it's not really a musical.
Yeah, it's
But
not
yeah.
a musical at all.
the just the comedy and just like the enjoyment that I get from watching it. Kronk alone, I think, carries it past Moana.
I think Moana is one of
This
the
one
like
hurts.
I think Moana is one of those characters that that when I think of like good female role models for like the target audience, I think of Moana. I think out of all the protagonists left on this bracket, I think she might be one of the best ones. Um, maybe like top three or something like that. Um, I think the journey that she goes on is something that like is beautiful to see. I think Emperor's New Groove is probably the most unique movie on like remaining on this bracket as far as like it being purely like a comedy. Um and like more about the laughs and the like you could tell that the actors that were in the booths for this movie had a fucking blast making this. Um but I do think that I think Moana has a lot more depth and a lot more to tell. And that's not even taken away from Emperor's New Groove because it's not that kind of movie. Um, but like I like a movie to hit me in the feels. Um, and again, that's not taken away from Emperors, but I'm going Mullen on this.
So either way, we're gonna lose one of my favorite Disney movies ever in this one.
Well, with the fan vote and Mark, Moana is going to move on.
I was gonna vote Emperor's New Groove, so that's fine.
Yeah.
These are two of my favorite Disney movies right here, like by far. Like I can watch, but what pushes Emperor's New Groove over the edge for me is the rewatchability.
Yep.
It cracks me up. Moana cracks me up too, and it's a damn near perfect movie. And Emperor's New Groove's out. Jeez,
Yep.
that it's so
Trust me,
good.
that hurt.
It has one of the best side characters ever. I think. I
I mean,
think
you could
Emperor's.
argue that with Maui too, though.
It's true. I think
Maui's
Emperor's New
incredible.
Groove. I think Emperor's New Groove wins. Makes it to the final four,
I don't know.
and
Kronk versus Maui? I would take Kronk every time.
I think Emperor's New Groove
And again, it's
reaches
not
the
even that
Elite Eight.
Maui is bad. It's just Kronk is just so hilarious and carries
Yes.
everything.
So
But like
here's
they do it for different
here-
reasons, though.
here's something for you guys. I think the Emperor's New Groove makes the final four in gold to bronze. I think it beats that. I think Emperor's New Groove. You might hate me for this. I think it wins the Pixar bracket. I think it ran into a tough.
Man, I got to tell you, the way this is shaken out, the two that I
It hit a
wanted to
tough out.
advance didn't, and now I feel like the entire right side of the bracket is just I don't care. And what's what's coming up on the left side of the bracket here that we're about to get into is going to be
hurtful.
the deciding factor of who wins
good-
the whole
good-
thing.
Okay.
I'm happy for Moana. Though.
Spoiler
Moana's really
alert.
good. Moana's fantastic. So
Alright,
I'm not upset
locking
with
in.
that at all. Great movie.
We're into the Elite Eight, starting with the PIXAR region. A shot at the Final Four on the line. It is the 5 seed Coco against the 2 seed Inside Out.
Oh no!
I've been
Moana one loser.
I'm
with
riding
the fan
with
vote and my vote.
I'm riding with Inside Out. To me, Inside Out just changed the game, right? Like it was a completely different style movie. It was a completely different style cartoon that we're watching. It was so fun. Coco was phenomenal too. Inside Out was so good. I'm shocked it made it out of Pixar. When I'm thinking of Pixar movies, that's not the first one I think of because it's not synonymous with Pixar. But damn, is it good? Inside Out for me. I'm setting up the poll right now. Sorry guys, give me a minute. I just wanted to get that out there.
Here's what I would say. So with Inside Out and Coco, I think this is kind of the microcosm of the entire Pixar region. Is a vast majority of these movies will just eventually break you and just ball you into tears.
Yeah.
For Coco, it has its emotional moments and it makes you feel different things, obviously, like all of these movies do. But I never come out of Coco depressed. I never come out of Coco disappointed with how the movie ended or how I felt through the whole thing. And like I said, the soundtrack in general is just so good, so strong all the way through. To me, it's the one that I can go back to more because I can sing along with it, I can connect with it, and it's the one that for me I think should win this region. So I'm gonna go with Coco.
Fuck. Fuck, it's up to me.
The pressure is really going to be on loser here because whichever one you pick, if he picks the other one, his fan vote tiebreaker is going to move it on. So whatever he decides to go with is going to be the deciding factor.
That doesn't get you off the hook, by the way, Mark.
It doesn't. You still have to make a decision.
I'm voting.
Now, keep in mind Inside Out's not, because we said soundtracks, which is a good key. Inside Out's not in
Not
the
a musical.
soundtrack, kind of is not a
Right.
Yeah.
It's
musical
kind of
as
like with the
well.
last one where it doesn't
Yep.
really have a,
You're facing a
a
musical
soundtrack.
versus yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how
So like,
we got that and so deep in here, you know?
do you
Hmm.
kind of like? Is that something you hold against it? Like when you think of Disney, right? It's really hard to say that a non-musical movie is like among the greatest. But I think it goes to show you how great this movie is.
Yeah.
I think Inside Out does like both. When you think of like so like when people think about Pixar, there's two things that people think about. They think about the franchises and like the classics, right? Your Toy Stories, your Finding Nemo's, your Incredibles. You think about
At
those
the end beach
movies,
ball.
and then you think about like how Pixar makes you feel, right? And like I think when it comes to how like bringing like emotions out and making people actually feel, I think these two movies probably represent Pixar perfectly.
Hmm.
Like these two and then like Up, like they make you feel something and they make you feel for the characters in the movie and everything like that. I think Coco is one of those movies that um, it it almost feels generational. Like it almost, but like it's one of those movies that like it's not often you get movies that are just universally acclaimed, whatever. And I think um, Coco does a great job of connecting. Like it goes without saying, it does a great job of actually connecting to its kind of like roots that they're trying to make. You know what I mean? As far as like in the in Mexican culture, Mexico and stuff like that, they do an excellent job. Like the research that they went into it, like cannot be understated. I feel like either way, I'm making a wrong choice here.
All right,
You know what I mean?
Mark, I'm gonna give you a couple seconds to decide. I'd like to give another ducky out.
Okay.
Okay.
This one, this one will go to the entire Pixar region. This is the you made me use an entire case of tissues award. The Pixar, the Pixar, the Pixar side of the bracket, man. Boy,
Yeah.
you're crying if you're watching these movies. You're using an entire case of not a box, a case of tissues to watch these movies. Like you're crying a lot. If you're not crying a lot, mm, well, good for you if you're not crying a lot. I'm crying a lot with this. So congratulations, Pixar, making us bawl like little babies. Beautiful. We love to see it.
I'm gonna give this. Fuck. I really feel like I'm making the.
If
I'm
okay,
make
if
the
it
bad
makes you
decision
feel
here.
any better at all, the loser voted for Inside Out, so that will be advancing regardless of what you choose.
So did the vote. Somebody voted Inside Out as well.
I voted it for loser.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah.
I thought there was more than one person in there. I was like, who's doing the
I'm.
voting?
I'm gonna.
So at
Well,
least somebody gets to enjoy the names of the polls that I'm putting out there.
in good faith, I'm gonna go Coco.
Sure.
Um, just so that like it's not getting ass
Yeah.
fucked.
It loses on the
Because
tiebreaker, but still Inside
it
Out.
loses on the time. It loses on the tiebreak. I'm not mad either of these movies are advancing. Um,
Feel free to say
but
Coco with your Spanish accent since you picked it.
Coco,
There
Coco.
you go.
I'm gonna pick Coco. Um, but Inside Out, like, it feels wrong that Coco's losing here. But like, I'm not mad that it's losing to Inside Out. If that makes sense.
All right, we're moving on to the Bronze Renaissance, and we
This is gonna be
have
tough.
the
I
number
already
one
know what's
seed,
coming up.
Aladdin, currently 12-0 in the vote, going up against Beauty and the Beast, who is currently 11-1 in the vote. So two juggernauts running through this bracket to this point.
So as you guys can see,
Make way for Prince Ali.
I'm wearing a genie shirt. Now, we finally get to talk about Aladdin. Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie. Um, I think we've been talking about characters this time and last time. We've been talking about stories and everything like that. When you talk about greatest side characters of all time, it is Genie and everybody else. I don't think it's close either. Like Robin Williams' performance in Aladdin is one of the greatest voice acting performances. And like it's crazy too because it's not like Aladdin's a bad character. It's not like Jasmine's a bad character. It's not like Jafar's a bad character. It's not like any of these people are bad characters. It is just how good Robin Williams plays Genie, and how I mean, it's not like just comedy either. Like the soft like moments where he's with Aladdin and telling him to like be himself and like be like just giving him advice and everything like that as well also speaks volumes as well. Um, the soundtrack in this movie is incredible. I would argue that A Whole New World might be one of the greatest Disney songs ever.
Like Beauty and the
Ali.
Beast is very good. We all understand that. We all know
Incredibly good.
So-
Incredibly good.
But
I'm going Aladdin on this.
let's just think about all of the things that we've talked about, even in the last couple of matchups, right? What the deciding factors have been. Story, a hero you can actually root for, soundtrack, amazing villain, the side characters. Aladdin is the only movie I feel like, maybe in the entire bracket, that checks all 5 boxes. Like,
Yeah.
top to bottom, flawless. So this,
And then the animation too.
even with how
like,
great Beauty and the Beast is, I think this is an easy Aladdin vote for me.
I think Aladdin. I also feel like Aladdin holds up a lot better. I feel like Aladdin is a little bit more rewatchable. Not that Beauty and the Beast isn't rewatchable. I just feel like Aladdin's an easier watch. And also like the story that Aladdin goes through and like realizing that like lying isn't good and like being yourself is the best thing that you can do. And that Jasmine liked Aladdin that entire time, and Aladdin was trying to be something that he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And when he finally like fessed up, whatever, you start to kind of see like that growth, whatever. And like Jafar is just such a fucking sleaze bag. Like Jafar is such a good villain. He's such a good villain.
All right, Duck, what do you think? It's 3-0
yeah.
right now. Does it clean
dude.
sweep its way to the final 4? Here?
I've been waiting to talk about Scott Wenger
Yeah.
playing the part of Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
Something about Steve from Full House.
Yeah.
Main eventing a fantastic movie makes me happy. Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah.
We're talking about great side characters. Fucking Iago was
I'm gonna bring that up in the next round too.
Was so good. The Cave of Wonders.
Yeah.
The video game Aladdin spawned.
Diamond in the rough.
Yes. If first of all, Aladdin, one of my favorite video games, side scroller game, so of course I fly through it. I am a side scroller pro. Humble brag. Beauty and the Beast, I hate that I can't vote for it, I really do. But as far as what I prefer Aladdin. I just do. Rip Beauty and the Beast, one of my favorite movies ever, one of my favorite villains ever.
It's kind of crazy to see Beauty and the Beast getting swapped. Like,
I'm not going to throw a pity vote out there. I can't. I respect it too much. Also, Aladdin live action remake got a lot of heat.
I like that.
Which I don't understand because I enjoyed the hell out of the live action remake.
Also,
I know Will Smith isn't Robin Williams. Let's just he's not Robin Williams, guys. Still. He's just not.
Yeah.
For what he was, for the genie he played, he did a good job. I enjoyed his version of Genie. Yeah, of course I enjoyed Robin Williams' version better. It was just fucking better. I mean, you could do more in a
Yeah.
cartoon. Like they made Genie blue in a preview, and do you remember what happened when that fucking when that preview came out? How
Uh-huh.
shit on he was for
Yeah.
that. Like you can tell they did updates after they did that initial
Yeah.
preview with much shit they ate for that. But it was a good movie, and I
Yeah.
did like how in the live action version, they gave Jasmine her own song. I thought that was a nice
Yeah.
touch. They made
Yeah.
Jasmine look stronger.
Speechless.
Right.
Speechless. That
It
was
was
They
really
kind of
good.
it
flipped
was
it where she was the main, even though it's still Aladdin, and it was
yeah,
kind of
it's
more
but
Yeah.
revolving around her and her arc, and it still worked. Like the story
it
is just
worked
that
so
strong.
good. The story's good. The
Jasmine's
and
such a good princess too.
Hmm.
she's a good princess. I do enjoy how Jafar Jafar made her Princess Leia at the end. He's like,
Right.
you know what? I'm even more of a creep. Here,
Right.
wear the
Yeah.
Leia outfit. I know it was unintentional, but it was still funny as shit. I was like, oh yeah, he's like Jabba the Hutt. Um, so yeah, it's Aladdin here. It just
A quick
is.
shout out. Quick shout out
Beauty
to
and
Aladdin the musical on Broadway. Aladdin on Broadway, another very great
now
adaptation as well.
now if this were Aladdin versus the Lion King, I would have a harder time.
It's exactly
I
why
would
I had to
legitimately
do
have a
it.
harder time.
This
Um,
Exactly why I
isn't
had to do it.
difficult. This isn't necessarily difficult.
this wasn't a
Well,
hard vote for me at all.
this isn't easy. Excuse me. This isn't
Yeah.
necessarily easy for me to vote. Um,
I just enjoyed it more,
I
and
just
I
think
can
Aladdin's objectively
Better.
better, more fun to watch,
Prince Ali's on my damn
rewatchable.
phone.
Yeah.
Like it's on my
Um,
playlist. One Step is on my
it's
playlist. Like it's just that funny to me.
also like Aladdin as a character feels like it's that classic story of wanting more for yourself and um, wanting to just wanting a better life and but also not giving up your integrity and your who you are as a person to get it.
It also has a great message that lies compound more lies.
Right.
The more you lie, the more you have to lie.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah,
keep going.
The deeper
So
you dig. Yep.
Aladdin clean sweep. I can't. But then
16
kind
again,
of
and
crazy.
0 in
Beauty
the
and the Beast,
region.
fantastic. Loved Beauty and the Beast, but I can't. I'm not gonna give it. I'm not gonna disrespect it by giving it a pity vote.
All right. We've got half of the final four filled. Next up, the gold to bronze region. Number 13, Peter Pan against number 10, Cinderella.
This isn't that hard for me.
I'm gonna go first because I have to go pee.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Peter Pan.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put the poll up and go to the bathroom. But yeah, it's Peter Pan for me.
Okay.
Um, the Cinderella story continues. The Cinderella story continues. Um, there's a reason. Cinderella, I think sometimes gets a bad rap, um, and I don't know why. Um, I think people like to make the argument that she just got everything thrown at her, whatever. But it's not like she was just like this bratty kid that just stumbled she's kind of like anti Kutsko, right? Where Kuzco had everything and lost everything to realize um like what was important and
Well, this is what I was
appreciate it a
saying
little
before.
more.
It isn't really that way. It actually is just like Cusco because she was the rich princess. But then
But
when
she
her
didn't know that.
father died, she lost everything because it all
Oh
went
yeah,
to the
true.
stepmom and her stepsisters.
But it's not. But we don't. It's not like we see
But
Cinderella
she was never a
prior to
terrible
that.
person, I guess. She's always been a
Yeah,
good person through everything,
that's what I'm saying. It's not
which
like we
is how
see
they differ.
Cinderella. Yeah, it's not like we see Cinderella being this piece of shit kid, and
But
then
I think
everything
that's why they kind
happens.
of. So I'm gonna vote Peter Pan. So far, the fan vote is also Peter Pan. It looks like that's probably gonna
Man,
advance.
ah.
But the
Peter Pan
misstep,
should not be here,
again, I
in my
believe
opinion.
Cinderella, good movie, but the misstep that they make is kind of what you just pointed out, where Cinderella is not necessarily handed everything. She isn't getting all this stuff that she didn't necessarily deserve because they kind of glossed over the most important part of the story at the beginning, where this was kind of all of her life and it was kind of taken away and shattered, and they just kind of, like I said, they kind of just glossed over it, didn't pay a lot of attention to it, and then all of a sudden she just meets a fairy godmother and gets all these things
But
and
you could,
goes to the
but you could
ball.
argue that it should have never been taken from her in the first place.
Exactly.
Like you can't fault, like if I'm like the son of a rich king, like, and I'm a good person, like you can't fault me for being the son of a rich king.
Right.
Like it's not like if she was a bad person,
Right.
whatever, sure. What like but like it's not like Cinderella ever, like, as a matter of fact, despite like being rich and probably having anything she could ever want, despite that, she was a good person and a nice person. Like and
Exactly.
even
Like the real
like
story
even
that people should take away from this is that she had all these things. They were all taken away from her. And honestly, she had every right to be a complete jerk to her stepmom and her stepsisters and wasn't. Still chose to take the high road and be the better person and ultimately was rewarded for it. Like that's the
yes.
story that this should be, but it always gets
But what's
painted
the
as like,
story
oh,
being
she was
told
just
in Peter
magically given all
Pan?
these things, and that's just not the case.
That's and so like what makes Peter Pan better than that?
So for me, I'm voting, like I said, Peter Pan. Fan vote also Peter Pan. And like I've talked about before, it's kind of checking multiple boxes here. It's you've got Peter Pan and the kids, you have Wendy who is trying to help her younger brothers grow up, but then also she's kind of, seduced by the idea of maybe I do just want to be a kid. Maybe I don't want to have this extra responsibility, but ultimately learns that no, this is what I want to do and I need to help my brothers understand the same thing. And then Captain Hook is one of the all-time villains where again, the stepmom, as great of a villain as she is, she's nowhere near Captain Hook on that level.
Of course, I'll give you that. But I just feel like the and like
I ha-
when you
I have
talk,
more I have more fun watching Peter Pan. I just do. It's
I
more of
just
an
feel like
adventure.
when I think
Cinderella's
of
not an
like
adventure. Cinderella's you're going to a ball. Like you're
it's
the
a
prettiest girl at the
journey,
ball.
it's a
Yeah,
character journey. It's more of a
yeah, but you're
personal story.
yes, but you're the prettiest girl at the ball, and you meet a cute guy you like, and then all of a
You're
sudden he's trying to get a hold of you.
oversimplifying it. You're
I'm
oversimplifying it.
you're undersimplifying it. Like I like Cinderella. Cinderella's good, but it's if you think about it, like
Peter
the reason.
Pan's a fucking dick who kidnaps kids, takes them to their island, to his island, and
But he's a
like
kid.
what's so
It works because he's a kid. If it didn't,
that doesn't
like
make him a good person.
I
If
didn't say he
kid
was.
or
So
adult, like, if you
hold on,
kidnap
hold on,
people.
hold on. Think about this as a child, right? You get to hang out with other kids, have fun with a bunch of kids, and not have to worry about adults.
No
And you get to fly.
responsibilities. Yeah.
And you get to fly. Fucking sign me up as a child. Sign me
Yeah,
up now. Go
but
with
like
it.
the core
So
message of the movie
that's
is that
simplifying it.
every okay, but the core message of the movie is that all the fun parts about the movie was objectively the wrong thing in the end because he was trying to glorify all these things so that they would never grow up when in fact those were the wrong things. So all the fun parts of the movie were essentially what the movie was saying is what you shouldn't only want in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like the movie's
Cinderella.
named after Peter Pan. He's the worst character in the movie.
And, and,
like
well, I mean, Emperor's New Groove's based after the Emperor, and he's the worst one in that movie. So I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Cinderella
but he at least
also.
learned something. Kutsko learned something. It's not like Peter Pan lets them leave, and
He
it's
did
not like
learn
he's like,
something. He ended up
what
leaving
does he learn?
Neverland.
He
He ended up
stays in
leaving Neverland.
Neverland.
That's right, he does, doesn't he?
He stays in
No.
Neverland. He doesn't learn a goddamn thing.
I mean,
Everybody else learns something.
The next movie it picks up, and he's not never landing. But anyways, I
Oh,
digress.
Peter Pan
Uh,
doesn't learn a goddamn thing. The movie's named after Peter Pan and doesn't have a single fucking character arc for Peter. Everybody else learns something in Peter Pan,
right,
minus
right.
the main character.
As
But wait,
iconic as it
but
is,
what does
also
Cinderella learn?
she learns that if you look really pretty, then the prince will love
No.
you. Like
That
as long
being a
as
she learns that being a good and virtuous person, no matter how hard your circumstances are, does pay off in the end.
she learns that the good-looking guy
Well,
will never choose the
but does
ugly
she
sisters.
learn that or
That's
the
all.
audience? Because she's always been that good person. Nothing changes for her. She was a princess and had everything taken away, and then by the use of magic, she marries a prince and gets everything back. She doesn't even get back her original stuff. She just gets somebody else's riches because she married a prince.
But it's not like, but again, that
Like
shouldn't
she
have been
never
taken away. It
changed.
was
There's no
wrongfully
growth
taken
for
away
Cinderella. She's the same person throughout the entire movie. Even with the
because she
villain, like
didn't need
the
to.
main
She was
villain
a
in the movie doesn't have any control over the situation. The worst part about Cinderella's situation is you got to hit midnight, and that's the fairy godmother's magic. That has nothing to do with the stepmom.
I just
And by
think Cinderella.
and by the way, the stepmom, no repercussions.
Yeah,
She's still rich. The
yeah.
only thing she has now is she
Still
doesn't have
has
a maid.
everything.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. And her daughter, she
Well,
has to
she
keep
wanted
her
to be
daughters
connected to the
around.
royal family.
right.
She
Yeah, but
wanted to be
that's
connected to the royal.
the only thing she lost. She still has her money. She got
She
rid of the
she
daughter
lost
she
what she never
hates,
even had.
and now and now now her daughter's with it. By the way, big feet is not always a turnoff. Like, come on, man. Not everybody hates big feet. It's like, oh, you got normal stars. Like, I have fucking huge feet. All right.
Weird turn this
I
conversation has taken.
I know. It cut me deep. All right. I have big feet. Does that mean
I
I'm not
just
worthy?
think,
Like, get the fuck out of
well,
here. Like, leave
listen,
my
like
size 14s alone. Okay.
Cinderella's journey wasn't like to become a better like person. She was already a good person. Like it was about her gaining like her like again like staying true to herself and like just walking the line and like actually being a good person, staying a good person despite everything that's bad that's happening to her. Whatever. Yes, did she get
Oh,
given like the um like the riches and like being a princess and all that stuff? Yes. But again, she shouldn't have lost it in the first place. So you can't again hold that against her now. Like and again, it's not like she did
hey,
anything bad. It's not her like fault that
Yeah.
all this bad stuff happened. It was other people that did this stuff to her,
Hmm.
and like she's having to pay for it. So like her getting the stuff back that she never lost isn't a bad message. Like that just should have never happened.
so I'd like to give another ducky out
Okay.
for this bracket. This is the most iconic bracket with the least rewatchable movies.
I mean, you're not
These char-
wrong.
these
Yeah.
these are the most iconic characters in Disney history with the most least rewatchable characters. Dumbo, iconic. When you go to Disney, if you have little kids,
Bambi,
you
baby.
have to take them on Dumbo,
Bambi.
right? Bambi, hugely iconic. Pinocchio, insanely iconic.
Don't forget
Sleeping
Fantasia.
Beauty, Sleeping Beauty. Fantasia. Hell, they used to have a hat at one of the Disney World parks. Like those hats still sell like crazy.
What,
Um,
did they
the,
get rid of it?
the hat's gone. Yeah, the giant hat's gone.
What?
Oh, it's been
Fuck
gone for about 20 years now, man. Peter Pan, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, iconic characters. The Sword and the Stone, King Arthur's iconic, but not really through Disney. Lady and the Tramp, iconic. Hell, Mr. Toad is iconic for like people that are like me that are old school Disney World lovers who love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. 101 Dalmatians.
Winnie
It's
the
just
Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. These are Winnie the Pooh is not in this area. Get out of here. But these
He
are all
is.
iconic.
He was in Bronze Star Renaissance. That's right.
But yeah, so this wins the award for most iconic, least rewatchable movies. Because
Well, what happened?
I hit one too many things. Don't worry about it.
yep, the award's done. We can move on. But I had to give that award out because I look at these movies. I was like, wow, these are Disney movies. Then I look at them like, I don't want to watch any of them really. Like I like when I get done with this. If you said, hey, you have to watch a Disney movie, I'm going somewhere else. Like
All right, let's move on. The last entry to the final four will be one of these two movies from the experimental revival.
Oh,
Number 1, Zootopia. Number 2, Moana.
Uh,
I honestly don't really care either way. I'm gonna go Moana, just
I'm,
because I prefer the soundtrack, but that's basically it.
I'm going Zootopia. I'm going Zootopia. I just, I think, and like I said this earlier, and now I'm kind of like thinking to myself how impressive it actually is about like it says something about how good a movie can be without having a single song in the entire movie, and yet like it's still at this point in the bracket.
I don't know. The Shakira song was all over that movie.
True, but like that was like
That's probably the worst part of that movie is that it just would not
Zootopia.
stop. It just kept
It was
popping up
on
over
the
and over
whole
again.
time.
Zootopia like isn't a musical.
I'm going Moana.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going Moana. The side character had a side character that was fantastic. Like Maui has a mini Maui who's just as hilarious.
Loser
Like,
goes Zootopia on this. Loser, come on.
how does that happen? Quit begging.
I'm not begging.
I'm going Maui. I'm going Maui. Moana. Let's do it.
I think Zootopia, I think, is just the better written movie.
Oh,
I think
no.
what happened?
Nothing.
So far, it's Zootopia in the vote.
Oh fuck. I think Zootopia, I think is like I said, like the better written movie. And it's funny, right? Because like Zootopia is one of those movies that like is critically acclaimed and still like is kind of underrated. Like it's a 1 seed in the bracket because of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, but like it's not one of the first movies you think about when you think of Disney because
Yeah.
like there's just some people that just have not seen it, whatever. But like Zootopia is so fucking good.
But I
Like,
think
I
it's
cannot
also
sing
because
praises
when you
enough.
actually look at those like ratings, especially the fan vote ratings, a lot of the top movies are the musicals. Like people remember it because of the music.
Yeah,
Right? He voted Moana, so the fan vote split, which means it's going to be
Oh,
2-1 Moana advancing to the
Fuck!
final four.
damn it, loser!
So
Damn it,
I gotta give this bracket a ducky as well.
Okay.
loser!
Um,
Oh, you fucking jerk!
this bracket I think is the most balanced bracket. I think
I'm so mad.
it's not they're not all up here. We have high movies, we have low movies. It's just it's very balanced. Like the good movies are really good. The bad movies are Meet the Robinsons. I mean, we have some fun movies. Encanto could have won this bracket.
Should have won this bracket.
It could have gotten through. It could have easily gotten through. Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph could have been a Final Four in other brackets. Zootopia could have won other like Emperor's New Groove. This was a very balanced bracket. Do I think Moana can win? I don't know. Do I think any of these movies could win the whole thing? I don't know. Like we have a juggernaut, obviously, but these are a lot of a lot of really good movies, and it wasn't just one movie just steamrolling everybody, and it wasn't one movie where we're looking at like, well, that movie's done. Like Peter Pan's fucking out, bro. Like it's not making it out of the final four. I don't see it. Unless
Mark's
the audience
been trying to
like,
eliminate it since the first round. So I mean,
yeah. So unless it's insane, there's no way. So yeah, this I think is the most balanced, almost fun one we've had. I think we've had the most discussion with this one because this one the matchups have been just so good. So
But
there's that ducky.
I'm so sad Zootopia's gone.
I already told you the right side of the bracket just does not matter to me at all because it's going to come down to this left side and how this works out. In our first semifinal, we have PIXAR's number 2 seed, Inside Out, against the number 1 seed that is 16-0 right now, Aladdin. And I'm gonna keep the freight train running down the tracks here because it's, again, like I said, it's Aladdin. It checks all 5 of the boxes we have been talking about.
I'm gonna end it.
Oh man, you're going Inside Out.
I think Inside Out maybe. I think it may
You're
be
putting this on me.
one of my favorite stories ever told in Disney. Aladdin is a perfect movie. I think Inside Out is a perfect movie. Damn. I'm going Inside Out. Aladdin's so good, so fucking good.
I think
I don't
it's
see.
funny.
I think Inside Out is more emotional for me.
Loser,
I
you
think
hit it
that
right on the head.
I think that's. Oh, Loser said that too. I think
I will say
Inside Out.
Inside Out made me feel more.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm picking Inside Out because that's the only thing Aladdin doesn't do. It doesn't. I mean, it makes me happy. Like I don't want to say it doesn't, but it doesn't. I'm not like, oh my god, that was amazing. Like it's so good. It's a perfect movie. You're not wrong, Steve. The only thing that it doesn't have is it doesn't have that pure emotion. It's and I don't want to, I can't even say that because that's happiness, but it doesn't have like it doesn't take
Yeah.
you on the roller coaster.
No,
It's
I
such
think
a great movie. It's
and I feel
almost
like Disney
almost
didn't.
predictable in that way, but it's I don't know. It's so
I
good.
feel
It's
like Disney didn't start going down that route of like pulling the
no,
heartstrings until
no, not even close.
like 2010. Like I think that's when like they started like pulling the heartstrings because remember Pixar was its own thing for years.
Yeah.
Pixar's been doing this. Like
Yep.
this is tough, right? Because I feel like like Aladdin is the better Disney movie, but I feel like objectively speaking, Inside Out is just the better movie in general. Um I think when you think of Disney, and again, like it's not really a knock because Pixar isn't
It's not
really.
Pixar's cup of tea. Music wasn't Pixar's cup of tea.
Yeah, like Coco is kind of the outlier in
Yep.
Pixar as far as like having musical elements in a
Yep.
Pixar movie. Inside Out is textbook Pixar, like just story driven, like deep connection, like deep emotional journey for like whatever characters, whatever. So like it's hard for me to judge them on the same scale. I think man, like I'm also gonna go Aladdin.
Okay.
I'm also gonna go Aladdin. It's just hard for me to like.
The fan vote was Aladdin too, so your vote didn't hurt. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like I think
But at least their starters had to play the second half of this game.
That's right.
yeah, like I
They're
think
19-1 right now in the tournament.
like as incredible and I say this like wholeheartedly, as incredible as like Inside Out is, I don't think I could in good conscience move like a Pixar movie to the final.
Well, like, so what I wanted to mention, Ducky, you mentioned Iago in the last round. Like, not here's how strong Aladdin is. We have talked about the side characters. We have talked about the villains. We've talked about the soundtrack. Aladdin is so good that not only is there villain dominant, but the villain's side character is iconic. Like that's how good this movie is. All right.
I think like like
And the salt. We haven't even talked about the Sultan yet either, or Raja. Like,
right.
It's so much depth to it. It's just to
such
me,
like
Inside Out's just a better movie.
Inside Out is a better movie. Objectively speaking, Inside Out is a better movie, but I think Aladdin.
I'm not mad at Inside Out losing.
All right, on the other side, we have.
If Lion King was there, we'd have a little more conversation.
On the other side, we have the 2 seed
quick one.
Moana against the 13 seed, the ultimate Cinderella, Peter Pan.
I can't believe the Cinderella story got out to a movie that is about a fucking brat, Moana, fucking easily. Like, it's not even close. Like,
And
sorry for
it's
keep asking.
the
Aladdin one, yeah.
the time has come to finally agree with you, Mark, because again, it just checks too many boxes. Moana with the soundtrack, the comedy, the storyline, all the characters, main characters, side characters. It's all so good. It passes Peter Pan that has basically been carried by Hook for a vast majority of this bracket
I
because
don't.
that's just
I
such a
truly
weak
do not
region that it
know.
came
I
from.
truly do not know how Peter Pan made it to the final four. Like,
Because that region is
I,
just so terrible, just so
That
many
bracket was
bad
hot garbage,
movies.
bro. Like,
can we look at Peter Pan's road to? Like,
yeah.
I need to see. I want to hear who Peter
You want
Pan
to check the
beat.
road again? Okay, I can go back
Hold on,
to it.
I'll pull
Yeah,
it up. I got it loaded. All right,
because
Peter
Hold
Pan
on, I can pull it
beat.
up on the stream.
Remember, this got the award for most iconic movies that nobody wants to watch ever again. Like, so it beat out Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
shouldn't have won that. Continue.
It beat that movie sucked. It beat out Alice in Wonderland,
Okay.
which you yourself said shouldn't have been there. It beat
Okay.
out The Jungle Book,
That's a fuck.
which
That was atrocious. That
if
was
the
atrocious.
if the Jungle Book had a better ending other than, you know what, I'm out, then it's like, ooh, girl, then
That
maybe
was
it would
fucking
have got it.
atrocious.
And then it beat Cinderella.
I'll give you Alice and I'll give you Snow White. It should not have been Jungle Book and it should not have been Cinderella.
You could have used your coin to get it out of there against Alice in Wonderland or Snow White. You chose other options.
I wasn't going to use my. Well, I voted for Peter Pan against Alice.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Against Jungle Book, and Steve made a
And that
good
was
point with
wild.
it. Made a fantastic point that he just decided, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm good.
He was a fucking
Yeah.
kid. Like, he didn't know.
Peter Pan's a shithead, but he's a kid, bro.
Like I said,
No.
like Jungle Book was so strong. If we were comparing Jungle Book and Peter Pan, the head to head for the first hour and 15 minutes, Jungle Book wins. But that ending where it
Does
just
the ending
completely
really
fell on its
ruin it
face
that
ruined
much
it.
to you?
Yes. Yes.
It did. It
100%.
just
Really?
Yeah.
it just stopped. He's exactly right. They're like, you
Because
know what, we don't know
beginning
how
to
this kid
end, Peter Pan
there.
has an
Just
arc.
gonna do
It
it.
makes sense. It concludes the story the way that it should. Jungle Book just falls so flat at the end.
I don't
All right,
know.
so I'm gonna go. I gotta say, if Hook was in this, Hook beats Moana. But it's not. I get to stop talking about one of my favorite movies of all
I
time.
want you to look me in the eyes and tell me that you're going to vote for Peter Pan right now, and tell me that
No,
it is a good decision.
I just said if it was Hook, I would vote for it, but it's not.
Oh, okay.
Moana. We
I
talked about a
half want to
perfect.
throw Peter Pan a pity vote just for the lulls. Just
Fucking no. You should not have been here. Like, it's
Um,
pissing me off.
but I prefer it being Moana 4-0 just to kind of emphasize how terrible that region was that Peter Pan came
This
from.
is fucking North Dakota State
we
in the
talked about
fucking Final Four.
Aladdin being a perfect movie. Moana's a perfect movie as well. It checks all your boxes. It doesn't have the huge villain because we don't know she's really not a villain. Taka's not really a villain,
Mhm.
but it does have villains. She
Yeah.
is doing different things. She's taking on I've always
Well,
forget his name. Like
Taka
Shiny.
was
Shiny.
Taka was the villain, though. You know, like, it's just that, like, we don't have the added context.
Well,
It's
the
such a
ultimate, yeah.
journey.
Well, that's
It's such a journey.
it's 4-0.
If you think about it, Maui was kind
we
of
have
the
our
villain.
championship, we have our final, and it's the
Oh.
one seed.
I'm voting Peter Pan just to spite Mark.
Sure.
No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. It's Peter. It's
We have the
Moana. I
one
vote
seed
Moana. I'm sorry. I'm
Aladdin
joking.
against the 2 seed Moana.
I don't need much arguing on this one.
So,
You can start off because you sound more conflicted.
I know who you want.
Wearing the shirt, baby.
This whole time we've been thinking about, is anybody going to give Aladdin a run for its money? Inside Out did, because it had an amazing story. It was well written. Moana
I think Aladdin's final was in the last round. I think Inside Out gives Aladdin more of a run of its
This is
money
exactly what I said.
than Moana.
That the right side of the bracket didn't matter. It was going to get fed to whoever won the left, and here we are.
God, Moana's so good. And I
Moana's
can't.
incredible, but like
Mo,
Aladdin to me, I think
oh, you already put it out there.
is
Damn it, that's a good title.
you're
It's
right in the strand, and I'm Aladdin.
well,
My daughter's named after it. Oh,
Nice.
again, I think there was one other movie in here that I would have put up against Aladdin that I think would have beat it, and that's objectively. I I enjoy Aladdin more than Moana. I can watch either movie whenever. They both have great rewatch value to me. I enjoy both of them. I enjoy both the soundtracks. I enjoy both the characters. Um, Robin Williams, phenomenal. Um, fucking God, yeah, I just had his name
Maui.
in my head. Gilbert Godfrey is amazing.
Hmm.
Steve from Full House is. First of all, let's talk about how he's not the strongest of the heroes. Like we talk about great heroes, he's not that strong, but
Yeah.
he's the strongest that we need him to be. If that makes
Well,
sense. Like
Aladdin. So
if
the
he
funny
if
part
he
about
was
Aladdin,
if he was a major protagonist, then this movie would have suffered.
Yeah.
It would have suffered if he was a lot stronger. But because he was so weak and kind of sickly and poor a little bit, and
yeah,
that's the reason. Well, poor a lot, but kind of like they made him a skinny kid, which was perfect. Perfect. His best friend was a little monkey.
Hmm.
Perfect. Turned
Yeah.
into an ele-
We haven't
his
even
he turned
mentioned
into an elephant.
Abu this entire tournament. How great is Abu?
And
yeah,
when he's running from the guards, and the monkey has a sword.
Yep.
He just pulls a sword, and they're like, "He's got a sword." Then the other one's like, We've all got swords." And he's like, "Here you go." I
yeah.
die. Magic Carpet is a good time.
Yep.
Um,
I can make the same
Mo-
argument here that I made for Peter Pan against the Jungle Book, where the arc is in Moana, you're building and building and building to facing Tafiti at the end, and really, like you talked about, Ducky, the whole twist there is that they're not really a villain; they're just misunderstood, and they can flip it, and Moana saves the day by saving the villain that you've been building
But
to
it,
the entire time.
it was a
but it's
fantastic
execute.
battle, though. It was a
It was
fantastic battle, though.
that and
Yeah.
like the execution. I think because I think
I'm
the
not saying it's a bad
execution
thing.
and
I'm
jump.
saying it does
I
it
was gonna
better
say
than what the Jungle Book
like
did.
Shere Khan.
Oh,
Shere
hands
Khan
down.
just gets jobbed
Right.
out, right? Like
Whereas you
Aka
have
is
and it's the same video game build like we've talked about, where you fight all these minor bosses along the way, like the
yeah.
coconuts
Ooh,
and the
loser.
crab
That was
with
rough.
Shiny, and all this stuff. Like it's she's growing as a person and also developing by fighting these bosses. Whereas in Aladdin, he's just constantly fighting against the same villain and keeps losing. He keeps going head to head with him and losing the battle until ultimately he figures out the way to overcome him at the end.
Yeah. I think the brilliant part about Aladdin too is that like he's and I think like as incredible as Moana is, I think Aladdin um like is a flawed character that learns from his mistakes. Right? Like his mistake wasn't being poor or anything like that. Like his mistakes was like him trying to thinking that he had to be something that he wasn't in order to get what he wanted in the end. That was his mistakes. And like Genie is almost like a foil to that because now
Yeah.
he wants like everything. Now he could have anything he ever wanted, and it still doesn't make him feel happy. Like he gets to be a prince.
Right.
Like he impresses Jasmine, and he's still not happy because he doesn't feel like he was himself along the way. And like it's a great story of like money and fame and like royalty or whatever. It's not the key to happiness. Like, and once Aladdin
He's still
started
poor
fessing
Aladdin
up,
too.
What's up?
I still quote Aladdin too. Like
Yeah.
when I get
Like
into,
what?
like when I get into one of my friend's small cars, I'm like, phenomenal cosmic powers, itty bitty living space.
Yep.
Like it's got
Like again, like I don't think it's a
and a great spin-off TV show, by the way.
Moana's incredible. Like let's not
No,
get it
like I've
twisted
said,
here.
since basically the
But
Sweet 16, none of these movies in here we would say, "Oh, this is a terrible movie." We're voting because we prefer the other. That's all
yeah,
it
I'm
is.
voting Aladdin. If that
I
wasn't
mean,
obvious enough.
I don't know about that. There was a Sweet 16 movie I thought was terrible.
Well, there's also
What was
Peter
that?
Pan that made it to the final four that Mark thought was terrible. So,
That's true. True story. True story.
Unbelievable.
all right, Ducky, you're the last one.
Oh, I already said I said Aladdin. I can't not
Okay.
vote him.
Okay.
I mean, it's
There
Moana
it
was very
is.
good. The side character having it, I'd like to give a Ducky to this real quick
Oh shit.
to Moana's tattoo. A side character having a side character on him is kind of funny to me.
Nice.
It's like the character literally inside the character made me laugh,
Nice.
and I could watch a show with just that. So that's just a quick one. Sorry to
Was
throw that out.
Aladdin's what? So Aladdin had one vote against him
Final
in the
record. Yeah,
entire
23 and
tournament.
1 through the entire tournament. Aladdin, your champion.
That is like
Dominant. Dominant.
that is a like that's an all-time run. Like that's
100%.
like and it's crazy because I do think Lion King would have given it a run for its money more than Beauty and the Beast.
You're
But
welcome.
So wait a second.
using your coin.
No, no. So if let's look at the bracket real quick, Steve, if you don't mind pulling it back up.
Oh yeah.
If I don't use that coin keep
Lion King.
keep the Lion King in, a Goofy movie moves on.
Right.
Do you use the coin on Mulan to beat a Goofy movie? Because I'm voting a
Absolutely
Goofy
not.
movie.
I'd use it the other way.
Okay, because
If I had to.
I'm
I
picking a
told
Goofy
you I
movie
was
over
going to use
Mulan.
my coin on the Goofy movie in the first round because I thought I needed to, but then it was 2-1, so I thought I was good, and then you used your coin to save the Lion King.
Okay, so let me keep moving. Goofy movie against Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, probably.
I'd go
I
Goofy
like
movie
Goofy
still.
movie. I like
I'm
Goofy
ac-
movie more, but Beauty and the Beast
I,
is objectively a better movie.
I'm actually doing Goofy movie against Beauty and the Beast as well.
Yeah.
So without
Wow.
taking the fan vote,
Yeah.
right now Goofy movie makes it to final against Aladdin. Aladdin versus Goofy movie.
Still Aladdin.
Does it get a vote?
Probably not.
Loser said he would have done Goofy against Beauty and the Beast. I vote Aladdin over Goofy movie. I'm just wondering if you guys would have given it a vote.
I think it would
I
still
probably
be
would have done
4-0,
Aladdin.
but I think it's at least closer than anything else.
Yeah.
So Lion King, I'm voting Lion King over Aladdin. But
Yeah, I would never do that.
Inside Out, objectively, Inside Out's my favorite Disney movie. Looking as we go through this tournament, Inside Out's my favorite movie in this thing. So that's where I'm at.
So let's ask the real question. Say Encanto never gets out. Do you think it's Encanto versus Aladdin in the end?
I do, but that's me.
It's hard to argue against it. I mean, I think
And
the right side.
if it comes down to that, it's really close for me. But I like it. If it was 3-0 Aladdin, I would vote Encanto to give it the vote. I don't think it should be swept.
Yeah.
It's that close.
I don't vote for Encanto over Moana, but it gets to the Elite Eight for me.
Oh, I would.
But you guys will probably go.
I think I do Encanto over Moana.
Loser just said he would go Moana over Encanto, so it wouldn't make it that far because I would have picked Moana too. But I think Encanto dominates the top part of that division. Like it goes through.
I mean, we already know that Duck would vote it past Big Hero 6. It would be Encanto versus Zootopia.
Which I'm voting Encanto.
I think I'd go Zootopia there.
I
think I actually go Zootopia there. It cannot be. I can't stress enough how much I love Zootopia.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, I would have had Encanto and Emperor's New Groove as the final two in that region. And it's not a knock against Moana. I just love Emperor's New Groove that much.
Yeah. Well, I actually voted. Did I vote Emperor's New Groove over Moana?
Yes.
It's 2-2.
Yes.
It's
Mark
2-2.
was
So
the one
I
that
think I
voted
voted with you.
Moana, and then
Yeah.
the fan vote from Loser got it through.
So it was an interesting thing. There's a lot of interesting stuff that can happen. So I
It
don't
was
know.
a great
I think
turn. Are we?
yeah, it was.
We're happy with this result, right? Like this
Oh, yeah.
feels right. This feels right.
I don't see any other way. I don't see
I don't
this
think
going any other
I
way.
think it worked out perfectly because there's no controversy amongst us since it was 23-1
Yeah,
in the vote.
I
And
think
even
like
then, the one is Ducky prefers
I was
Inside Out, and I can't blame him if that's his favorite Disney movie.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I just said it's my favorite Disney movie. I think in this, it's my favorite Disney movie. It really is. It's just it makes me feel something no other Disney movie ever had. You know what I mean? Like it did, and I always come back to that goddamn fucking that
Yeah. I mean, like
the the imaginary friend. But how did
Bing
they
bong.
do that?
looking
How
at,
did they do
I
that?
mean,
How
looking
did
at
do
like this, looking at this Final Four, there's obviously a clear glaring movie that's on there.
Moana?
But other than that, yeah, Moana. But other than that, I think we voted very well up until. I
I do
cannot
like.
believe that I kept on getting outvoted
Would
to get
Cinderella
fucking
have
Peter Pan out.
made you happier, really?
Yeah,
Out of that
because
trash region?
bro,
Look
that's
at this.
Jerry
Look at how
West.
terrible this region is.
That's Jerry West. That's the fucking logo, dude. Like that's the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the New York Yankees. Like
Now,
come on
look,
now.
I will give you this. Going into this, I would never have predicted that Peter Pan would be the one that would come out of this region.
Yeah, like what the hell?
But I'm also
Like I
not
said,
upset about it.
I was shocked you guys picked Peter Pan over Jungle Book.
I thought
big-
Robin Hood would make it out. I was like, oh, we're gonna get a 16 seed run in the
The
gauntlet.
biggest
I was
issue
like-
with this whole region was the seeding.
Yeah.
Like, if this was based on our own personal feelings and not general public and Rotten Tomatoes, then this all probably shakes out differently.
Yeah.
I think I vote Robin Hood over Peter Pan, and
That's an
Peter
insane
Pan,
statement.
and I think Peter Pan goes out of here. But I liked Robin Hood more than Jungle Book, but Jungle Book went
Yeah,
past the pie.
I would
So,
also
I mean,
probably take Robin Hood over Peter Pan.
but it's just that's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
I'm trying to like
I
because
mean, Robin Hood also gets wrecked in the next round anyways, so it's like,
what would I take over Peter Pan out of this?
You said Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
That's it for me.
God, I guess that might be it.
You wouldn't do Lady and the Tramp or 101?
No.
I don't think so. 101. The problem is, it's like we said, there's no
got way more rewatchability.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It's just it has a good villain, and I can't even think of a good line in it or a good part of it where I'm just like, ooh, this movie's good. So that's where we're at.
A fun time. So our champion for Mark Madness, the first Mark Madness, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Aladdin. Yeah. A round of applause. Not necessarily the most surprising pick.
Right.
But
Given the audience,
He's got
but
the monkeys. Let's see the monkeys.
yeah, because I feel good about this decision because there were some circumstances where because it's not like it was just ours, right? We included the audience, and the audience agreed.
And that's why I actually enjoyed bringing in the fan vote. There were many times you can go back on the brackets on the website again, ! Madness, or in the Discord, either way. But there are many times in here where either the coin, which I thought was a cool addition to pass stuff through, and then you had the fan vote where it was 2 of us to 1 wanted some movie to get through, but the fan vote saved a movie to move it on. So I thought that was cool.
Yep.
I think that happened with Zootopia, did it not?
It happened with Moana.
Zootopia against Ralph. Moana.
Yeah. My favorite was when the fan vote was completely useless. It was outvoted 3-0.
Yeah.
And it went 4 movies in a row, 4 or 5 movies in a row.
Loser kept voting for something, and we just swept against it.
Like,
We had to
I'm
be
like,
a
we're gonna lose.
united front for it to not
Yeah,
advance.
we're gonna lose loser here. Like
Yeah,
he's gonna be like, fuck these
alienating
guys.
the fans. Yeah.
Any surprises? Any absolute shocks in this tournament that
Peter
besides
Pan making it to the final four.
All right,
Like,
Steve, any absolute shocks for you?
It's a great question. I mean, yeah, Goofy movie.
I could still hear you guys, but let me just run to the bathroom real quick.
The Goofy
Goofy
movie
movie's
going
your
out in the
absolute
first
shock.
round because I know I love Goofy movie. I know Mark loves Goofy movie. I know that Loser does as well. So I feel like if it was up against anything other than Lion King, it probably advances.
100%. I think Encanto is my shock.
Me too. I
I,
said at the
I,
beginning that I could have seen them in the final, if not
you
winning the whole
did,
thing.
you did. You're like Encanto's a
And
sleeper
right
to win
after
this
I
whole
say that,
thing.
Mark used his coin to get rid of it.
Puts down, puts down his coin and ends it. I was kind of shocked when you got rid of Lion King, but it's preference. So it took me a minute to get over, it, but I get it.
Mhm.
Um,
Like I said, I was
but
playing the long
Encanto,
game. Like I
yeah,
knew if it was if I didn't, it was going to come down to Lion King against Aladdin, and there was a shot that it would get voted where Aladdin gets knocked out at that point, and I didn't want
yeah.
that to happen.
The Lion King would have kept the game close. Um, but yeah, I think Lion King most through the rest of that thing, no problem, and gets to Aladdin. But yeah,
1 second. Yeah, I think.
and
I'm sorry.
but
Continue.
um, Peter Pan doesn't shock me. Like I look at that side, and I'm not shocked at
It's
all.
yeah, it
I'm like,
seems shocking on the surface, but then when you look at everything else it was up against, it wasn't that surprising.
I
I
just
think
don't
what
think Peter Pan's that good of a movie. Like,
so I think what shocks me the most is how the gold to bronze age is so stacked
Hmm.
with like okay, so Pinocchio has its own restaurant at Disney World. Robin Hood has nothing. Jungle Book has spots at Disney World. Sleeping Beauty has one of the castles in
Yeah.
one of the parks.
yeah,
Fantasia has its own ride and used to have one of the things. Alice in Wonderland has its own ride in the teacups. Peter
still here.
Pan, Snow White own rides. Dumbo own ride. Sword in the Stone has the thing I told you about. Adventures of Ichiban and has its own thing.
Yeah.
Lady in the or had its own thing. Yeah, they actually have him in the haunted mansion. He's in the pet cemetery. They have
Oh,
the
nice.
Mr. Toad, which is kind of fun, kind of cool.
Nice.
I'll take a picture of it next time there. Lady and the Tramp has its own restaurant. Ambi has a restaurant in freaking Animal Kingdom. Cinderella, the castle, Aristocats, nothing. 101 Dalmatians has stuff everywhere. Like this bracket is just Disney, right? It's
Right.
Disney, but it sucks.
Yep.
Like, wow,
I don't
how did that
think.
happen?
Compared to the modern stuff, yeah.
I
Oh
think.
my god, zero rewatchability in that bracket.
Well, you know what it was too. I think around the Renaissance is when they really got struck a good balance between story and music. Um, I think the stories in like those golden age movies like were never like written to be like to have more depth, you know. I don't think that they were focusing too much on like character depth and like the story and arcs and stuff like that. And then like Renaissance is when they really started like kind of hammering home the point. Not that those like earlier movies didn't necessarily have that, but like I feel like they really started hammering home those points like in the Renaissance era, like onward.
I'm,
Um, yeah,
I'm
but
curious, Steve, and
Hmm.
maybe I don't know if you have time to figure this out or if you can figure this out real quick because I'm going through the brackets. Um, is there any movie that went 500 that went to the Elite Eight? Like, just
Like
kept
it was
getting it through by
saved so many
tiebreaker.
times.
Yeah, or tiebreaker. Cinderella was
hmm.
4-3. I'm trying to look at the Elite Eights, trying to see if there was one that was just like, how did it? Uh, Moana was 2-2, but it was 4-0, 4-0 to start.
What
Renaissance.
what was it 2-2 against?
What's Emperor's New Groove? Beauty and the Beast was perfect going into that. Not even the Sweet 16 has it. So basically, we were pretty much on board with everything. There wasn't a movie. There wasn't a movie that like just eked by every round.
Hmm.
Like even Peter Pan, for as bad as Mark says it, he hates it. Like it
I
went
don't
4 and
hate
0.
it.
It went 4 and 0, 3 and 1, 2 and 1, and then 3 and 1. So it dominated that shitty division,
What
but
was
it just
Cinderella's? What was Cinderella's?
Cinderella was 3 and 0, 3 and 1, 4 and 0. Then it lost.
Yeah, like what
So
the hell?
it's a bad division.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bucks went the Bucks made the playoffs last year, guys. They were not a good team. Let's be honest. Like this is what happens. Sometimes you play the teams you play, and you have to beat them.
But
So
see, but the important thing to remember there too is like you talked about the Cinderella one. So Peter Pan, you said went 4 and 0, 3 and 1, 2 and 1, 3 and 1. The one in all three of those scenarios is Mark.
Mark, yeah.
And your point.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one to put a vote in against Aladdin, and it wasn't
Yeah.
even it wasn't even spiteful or pity. I liked that one movie better, and I'm not
I'm not,
upset that
and I
Aladdin,
don't blame
because
you
Aladdin
that.
was perfect. It was like, damn, that movie just killed everything. It was so
Yeah, I
good.
don't blame you for voting against Aladdin for Inside Out. Like it's
All right.
like I
Let's
said, it's an incredible movie. This was a great time. I definitely would like to do this again.
Mhm.
I
I'm
don't
on board. I
know.
had a blast. You just got to
I
figure a
don't.
category for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought. So I thought about last year. I thought about doing like greatest wrestlers of all time and breaking them down into like different eras. I thought about that. Maybe we could do like entrance music or something like that, or we could continue to go down the movie route.
Right.
But
We
like
could we could
we need
finally
to find
battle Hook
64.
to the Disney live actions instead of the
But
cartoons.
what 64 movies would we do?
I don't know.
Yeah, like and like, do we include MCU and Star Wars in there?
I don't
Like,
know. That's a good question. I don't know. We've
um,
got a year to think about
yeah. No, this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun.
it.
Um,
Loser, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
no, thank you, man. I really, Loser, you were the deciding factor in a couple of these. So, no, but this was a blast. I definitely want to do this again. Um, guys, give both Nonsense Steve and Darkwing McDuck a follow. Darkwing runs a great eFed. He also, for anybody who's wondering what eFed is pretty much a WWE league where you pretty much pick a male and a female superstar, and you have them represent you for championships, briefcases. You get to risk it for biscuits. You got to show up to find out what that means. And you can also get a little dangerous, if you're feeling up to it. Very fun time. You also play Sea of Thieves sometimes, Fortnite. But anyway, I think it's time to bid you guys all adieu. I do hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it may be. And always and forever remember, 1 second, I gotta get the heart situation going.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
May your heart. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Be your guiding key. Love y'all.